Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the American Public University System Senior Seminar. My name is Justin Sproul, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Before we get started, I'd just like to read a quote from Thoreau. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and to see if I could, and to learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. We're going to see that this really is going to be one of the key things in him writing Walden. So first, let's talk a little bit about Thoreau. Thoreau grew up, lived most of his life, and eventually died in Concord, Massachusetts. He attended Harvard University, and upon graduation, he realized that a lot of the jobs that were available to him, such as a lawyer, doctor, weren't things that he really wanted to do. For a time, he worked at the pencil factory owned by his father. Eventually, he moved into teaching. He opened up a school with his brother, and eventually this really didn't move him the way he wanted to. His true passion was the major movements that he lived in. Anti-slavery and transcendentalism. He was at the forefront of both of these movements. Thoreau wrote essays, he gave speeches, he tried to push both of these movements as much as he could. It's actually said that it's a joke between some people who are into Thoreau that he spent half of his life as a recluse at Walden Pond and the other half in jail for civil disobedience. While we're going to see here that the Walden Pond is not true, he only lived there for 2 years, he actually only spent one night in jail. But these two events really speak about the man. They're his two defining moments with both of the major movements that he really enjoyed. So when we talk about transcendentalism, transcendentalism was really influenced and pushed by the good friend and mentor of Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson. He actually wrote an essay titled Self-Reliance. In this, and with the movement itself, he critiques society, consumerism, buying what was happening in Concord and across New England at the time is people were buying more things. They getting bigger houses. They didn't own their own things. They would mortgage everything out, purchase things on credit. And it was lavish. There was balls and galas, and they were speaking out against this. Really with transcendentalism, they preached a back-to-basics sort of life, going ahead and just getting what you needed, taking only what you needed from nature, buying only the things that you needed, making your own things. One of the things that I think really spoke to me from Ralph Waldo Emerson and that really kind of sums up transcendentalism is that the invariable mark of wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common. And like I said, this really just sums up transcendentalism. So we talk about Thoreau going to Walden Pond. So Walden Pond was actually it was a pond. And Ralph Waldo Emerson owned a small piece of property that was adjacent to the pond. Thoreau went out there and essentially squatted for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. He went there near the pond and he built this small cabin. You can see it in the picture. It's not much. He's got a door, a few windows, and a fireplace. What he did while he was there is went out to work on his other books. He was finishing up 2, trying to get them published, and the whole time he was there, he journaled his living simply to do. He went ahead and jotted down notes, talked about his day, talked about what he saw, and really just tried to enjoy nature and the little things in life. Now, he was not a recluse, he was not a hermit. He lived within walking distance of Concord. He would actually venture out and go and have dinner or lunch with his friends. He spent time over at Emerson's house. Some friends would come to call. He wasn't far from Concord, but he was far enough removed that he didn't have to deal with the hustle and bustle and everything else that was going on. So when we talk about the book itself, I go into a little bit more in my paper, which you can contact me and read later. But some of the main themes that we're going to get here, yes, while we talked about transcendentalism, what really moved everything, some of the themes as you read through the book that I want to hit on here. Number one is self-awareness. Thoreau, as he did everything, he looked at himself. What was going to make him happy? I think one of the biggest things is the bean field. Now, he had a bean field that when he said that the beans would stretch out for 7 miles. He would sit there and he would hoe and take care of it. He would weed the garden, pick the beans. And what this did is it was a metaphor, not only that it was purely a bean field, but it was also a metaphor for himself, taking care of himself, examining himself. As he was hoeing through the fields, he would find arrowheads, pottery from people before. But what he was doing was also examining his own life and his own history. We also look here about self-reliance. While he did build the shack from his own 2 hands, using mostly scrap wood, he built it so that he owned his own. It was all him. He didn't mortgage it. He actually spoke of this, that most people don't own their homes, but instead are paying a mortgage company. He had it. It was his. And then also, for self-reliance, he kept a major account of every single penny he spent and every single penny in. Which seems kind of boring, but it's interesting to see how much he was able to survive and how little he was able to spend with just the necessities. He also baked his own bread and tried out different recipes. And he talks about all of these, and all of them are detailed there within the book. And one of the major things in here is his connection with nature. Thoreau journaled everything he saw, from a sparrow flying by to a row of ants, even the woodchucks who destroyed his bean field. But he was living in it. It was surrounding him. So this is what he saw, what he experienced every day. And he took the time to really pay attention to it, to find the small things. One of the quotes that I love from him here that really kind of sums up his connection with nature. I suppose that what in other man is religion is in me the love of nature. So finally, we're going to get into some of the influences that he had. A few of the movements here, environmentalism. So he connected with nature. He made sure that he saw, hey, I only need this. I'm only going to take what I need. He didn't needlessly kill varmints while his woodchucks destroyed his bean fields. He didn't take revenge on them or find any way to remove them. It was part of nature. And so he's really been an influence there. He's also influenced a newer movement called minimalism. While minimalism is essentially the modern day form of transcendentalism, it's different people going ahead and trying to live simply. And this book has been kind of their mantra, and seeing that somebody actually did it. He's also inspired a movie in 2017 called Walden, Life in the Woods. While this is not actually about Thoreau, it does follow 21st century individuals going through the same things that Thoreau found himself, and then trying to connect back to nature, going out to the woods. He's also been found in video games. There was actually one called Walden, a game where you live as Thoreau, and the Walden Pond was actually found in a more popular game called Fallout 4, in which it's an area you can explore. It kind of pokes fun at it. I provided here a few references. If you want to go ahead, I'll leave the screen up here so you can take a picture. Or if, like I said, if you'd like to contact me, I can go ahead and send this to you. All of these were also used in my paper, so if you'd like to contact me, just send me an email and I can send you a copy of it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to my speech here on Walden. Have an excellent day.